You've been trying to lose fat for weeks, maybe months, and somehow your body is acting like it never got the memo. You're eating salads, punishing yourself with cardio, avoiding bread like it personally offended your family, and the scale still moves like it needs emotional support. Meanwhile, one random guy online tells you to just eat clean, and suddenly you want to throw your air fryer out the window. Here's the problem. Most people are not failing because they're lazy. They're failing because fat loss advice is usually either way too extreme, way too dumb, or both. Cut all your carbs. Cut all your fats. Train twice a day. Sweat more. Suffer harder. Apparently, the human body is now a math equation written by a lunatic. But fat loss is not about who can be the most miserable for 10 days. It's about getting your body into a state where it can actually let go of body fat without you feeling like a hungry, exhausted goblin by 4 p.m. And that starts with understanding one thing most people get completely backward. If your plan makes you more hungry, more tired, and more obsessed with food, your plan is probably trash. One of the biggest mistakes people make is cutting fat way too hard, which sounds smart for about 6 seconds, because body fat has the word fat in it. Dietary fat has the word fat in it, so clearly they must be the same thing. Amazing science. Except no. Eating healthy fats does not magically make you fatter. In fact, cutting them too low can make fat loss harder because fats help support normal hormone function, help you feel satisfied and slow digestion, so you're not raiding the kitchen an hour after lunch like a raccoon with bills. I'm talking about actual useful fats here. Eggs, salmon, olive oil, avocado, nuts, real food. Not I had fries, so technically I hit my fats. That's not the same conversation. And then there's protein, which is basically your best friend if you're trying to get lean without losing your mind. Protein fills you up, helps you keep muscle, and your body actually burns more energy, digesting it compared to carbs and fats. Not enough to cancel out a weekend of bad decisions relax, but enough to matter over time. This is why a high-protein diet feels easier to stick to. Your fuller cravings are lower, and you're less likely to start bargaining with yourself over a family-sized bag of cereal. Now compare that to sugar-heavy, ultra-processed foods. They go down easy, barely fill you up, and somehow make you want more right after eating them. It's almost impressive. A coffee drink with syrup, whipped cream, caramel drizzle, and whatever else they sprayed on top can wipe out a calorie deficit before your day has even started. Same with healthy meals drowning in sauce, cheese dressings, and little extras that seem harmless until you realize your salad has the calorie count of a small celebration. That's where most people get blindsided. They focus on the obvious stuff and ignore the sneaky stuff. Not the burger. The sauce on the burger. Not the chicken bowl. The 3 little add-ons turning it into a bulking meal. Not the meal itself. The drink next to it. Liquid calories are especially disrespectful because they give you a ton of calories and almost none of the fullness. You drink them in 5 minutes, then eat a full meal anyway, and now your body is just sitting there like, cool, guess we're storing this. And no carbs are not the villain either. Refined carbs can be a problem because they digest fast and don't keep you full for long. But carbs themselves are not out to ruin your abs. Rice, potatoes, oats, whole grains, those can absolutely fit into a fat loss plan. The issue is not carbs existing. The issue is you eating like a toddler at a birthday party and calling it balance. So if you've been trying to burn fat by eating less, fearing whole food, and doing enough cardio to question your life choices, that's probably why progress feels so weirdly hard. Because fat loss isn't just about eating less. It's about eating in a way that makes eating less actually sustainable. And this is where most people mess up because the real game is not just what you eat. It's how your body responds to it, how full you stay, how much you move, and whether you can repeat it long enough to see results. So here's what actually works, and it's a lot less sexy than the internet wants it to be. Your body loses fat when you consistently eat fewer calories than you burn. That's it. That's the engine. Not detox tea. Not ab circuits until your spine files a complaint. Just a calorie deficit repeated often enough to matter. The problem is, most people try to create that deficit in the dumbest way possible. They slash food too aggressively, get insanely hungry, then accidentally eat back everything on Friday night and act confused on Monday. That's why food quality matters. Not because one food is morally pure and another one belongs in prison, but because some foods make a calorie deficit way easier to live with. Protein is a perfect example. Chicken Greek yogurt, lean beef eggs, fish protein shakes if needed. These foods actually do something for you. They keep you fuller, help you recover, and protect your muscle while you're losing fat. Because if you're dieting without enough protein, your body doesn't just lose fat. It can also lose muscle. And now you weigh less sure. But you also look smaller, flatter, and somehow softer. Which was not the goal. Fiber is the other quiet hero nobody gets excited about because it's not flashy. Vegetables, oats, beans, potatoes, fruit. Boring, maybe. Effective, very. Fiber slows digestion and helps food sit longer in your stomach, which means you stay full longer and stop thinking about snacks every 37 minutes. This is why people who build meals around protein and high-volume foods usually do better. Not because they have more discipline, because they're not fighting biology all day. And then there's calorie tracking. I know nobody hears that and thinks, wow, sounds thrilling. But if you have no clue how much you're eating, you're basically trying to budget your money by just feeling responsible. Good luck with that. You don't need to track perfectly forever, but for a lot of people, tracking for a while is what finally reveals the truth. That little spoon of peanut butter, not little. That healthy smoothie, suspiciously expensive in calories. That weekend cheat meal that wasn't even that crazy, deeply crazy. The same thing goes for drinks. Liquid calories are one of the easiest ways to stall fat loss, because they don't register like food. A soda juice, fancy coffee, energy drink here and there, suddenly you've swallowed a few hundred calories and your appetite hasn't changed at all. Your stomach basically got scammed. Water, 0-calorie drinks, black coffee, diet soda. If you want it, these make the process easier because they don't eat up calories you could have spent on actual food. Training matters too, but maybe not in the way people think. Cardio can help, sure, but people love using cardio like a punishment system. They do one brutal session, burn a few hundred calories, then get so hungry and drained that they reward themselves with enough food to cancel the whole thing out. Very efficient. Walking, on the other hand, is stupidly underrated. It burns calories, doesn't wreck your recovery, doesn't spike your hunger the same way, and you can actually do it every day without needing a motivational speech first. 10,000 steps isn't magic, but it's a solid target because it keeps you moving without turning your life into a boot camp montage. And lifting weights. That's non-negotiable if you want to actually look better. Not just lighter. You cannot spot reduce fat. You can do 1,000 crunches, and your lower belly will still ignore you until your overall body fat comes down. That's just how this works. But lifting helps you keep and build muscle, which changes your shape and makes the end result look a whole lot better. So no, your AB workout is not melting belly fat. It's just making your abs slightly stronger under the insulation. And this is where people really start to separate results from frustration. The ones who win are not doing more random stuff. They're doing fewer things more consistently, and in a way their body can actually handle. If you ignore all this and keep chasing fat loss like it's some secret trick the fit people are hiding from you, you'll probably stay stuck in the same loop. You'll go super clean for 4 days, feel proud, get painfully hungry, have one bad meal, then act like the whole week is ruined and turn a small slip into a full weekend disaster. That cycle is not a lack of motivation. It's what happens when your plan only works on paper and completely falls apart in real life. Because real fat loss is not built on intensity. It's built on repeatability. That's the part nobody wants to hear because "be consistent for a long time" is a terrible marketing slogan. It doesn't sound exciting. It doesn't come with dramatic before and after music. But it's the truth. The people who get lean and stay lean usually aren't doing anything insane. They eat enough protein. They keep calories under control. They walk a lot. They lift weights. They sleep like adults. Very boring. Very effective. Sleep especially gets ignored because it feels passive. Like it doesn't count unless you're suffering. But poor sleep makes everything worse. Hunger goes up, cravings get louder. Energy drops, training feels harder, and suddenly your ability to make decent decisions is hanging by a thread. Then you start reaching for quick sugar extra snacks, giant coffees disguised as milkshakes, and now your willpower problem is really just a sleep problem wearing gym clothes. 7 to 8 solid hours won't magically shred you, but bad sleep will absolutely drag your progress into the mud. And this is why you need to stop thinking of fat loss as a punishment phase. It's not a temporary period where you suffer until your body gives up. It's a skill. You're learning how to eat in a way that keeps you full, move in a way you can recover from, and train in a way that improves how you look over time. That's a very different mindset. Instead of asking, "What's the fastest way to lose fat?" ask, "What can I still be doing a month from now without hating everyone?" Because that's the real cheat code. Not perfection, not extremes, just doing the obvious things long enough for them to work. So start simple. Eat more protein. Stop drinking half your calories. Keep the sauces and extras under control before you start blaming your metabolism like it's some evil wizard. Walk more. Lift consistently. Add vegetables to meals so your stomach isn't empty all day. Sleep better. Not because these habits are flashy, but because they remove the reasons most people fail in the first place. And if progress feels slower than you want, good. That usually means you're doing it in a way that might actually last. Fast fat loss is fun for a thumbnail. Sustainable fat loss is what changes your body. You're not broken. You're probably just making the process way harder than it needs to be. So don't overhaul your entire life tonight. Just fix one or two things first. Make your breakfast higher in protein. Swap the liquid calories. Go for a walk after meals. Go to bed earlier, instead of doom scrolling until your brain melts. Small changes sound unimpressive right up until they start working. That's how fat loss actually happens. Not in one heroic week. In the quiet stuff you keep doing when nobody's clapping.